Individual facts usually are about the repetition at different times and in the same space. Let's see some examples. When you observe that clients come in the restaurant and they are asking for gluten-free products, when I observe that clients are in a hurry, or when women usually don't finish one menu in one sitting and they leave food in their plate. The fact that clients tend to get impatient during the serving process, or that most of our clients are women. The pressure in the kitchen and the fact that chef is getting positive personal feedbacks for the food. Individual facts can be noticed easier in the middle of work than patterns, because they just happen in front of you, in your presence, which is in your immediate time and space, right here and right now. But patterns need more time for identification, since they include multiple individual facts that are spread all over the business. But the principle is the same. By reviewing your daily activity, your memory will catch those patterns without you being aware of it, and eventually you will become aware. The good part of individual facts is that it helps you improvise solutions. And this is how a small business owners usually finds solution, get things done, gets results, and builds her business by improvising on individual facts, no matter if they repeat themselves or not. Sometimes they are related to an urgent problems, sometimes they are not. But there is a general tendency that you improvise on individual facts that they keep repeating. One challenge with individual facts is that you are surrounded by a huge multitude of them, but you don't see them all, at least not at once, because you are in the middle of work. Your priority is to handle things, and for this reason, you instinctively reject 90% of the information that surrounds you. So, the tendency is here to label many of these individual facts as random or too small to be relevant, even if they keep repeating, because in reality, some of them are really too small and really too irrelevant. So if it happens, you notice once or twice when a client is impatient or she asks for the first time for gluten-free products, you will treat it as random, small and irrelevant fact, even if this fact is persisting. You treat an individual fact as important only if it contributes to solving an individual problem and a solution pops up in your mind. If a fact doesn't produce any solution, it will be rejected. I mean, how can a small fact change a business where you feel overwhelmed by urgent problems? Well, it cannot if you look at it individually as a fact per se. We already saw this in the previous videos. So, if you don't see the repetition of a fact, you will reject it and label it as random. So how do you know, among so many facts that are going on, which is really random and irrelevant and which is a repetitive one and relevant? Well, the truth is that you don't know. When you see in general your business as individual problems in fact, and not as a whole. That is why the only way to identify a fact is as being random or relevant is to notice it in clusters, in patterns, like overlapping and separated activities with lack of synchronization, where there is a lot of multitasking because they grab your attention immediately. They are much easier to be identified. I mean, the fact that clients get impatient during the serving process became relevant in the context of serving 3 types of clients at once, and that they were just one person serving them. So I didn't notice this fact individually, per se, alone by itself. So random facts become relevant when you have enough clarity about your business as a whole, when you see all those individual problems and facts eventually connected. When you have enough clarity about the context of a problem, your mind will just pick up on individual facts automatically, no matter if they are repetitive or random. So don't worry if in the beginning you still reject what seems to be random facts and you still improvise only on those that seem relevant and that can create solutions on the spot. It is normal. It is part of the clarity process of how your mind processes information. I was also rejecting many individual facts, and most of the times unconsciously, because my immediate attention has a very limited frame of reference. But it was happening while I was at work. In the middle of work, I was rejecting this fact. That is why I was taking the time every morning at 5 to review my previous day of work in order to identify facts, information, activities that I overlooked during the day. In this stage of identifying patterns, it's not about replacing improvisations entirely, but about adding additional ways of looking at your business, which is about seeing patterns, connections among individual facts. They are a million facts moving around your business. You cannot see them all at once and individually. You will see them together in patterns, in clusters, and in cycles. So let's see some more examples. For example, clients keep asking, what else should I order? Or another observation is when we keep running downstairs to the main kitchen, or when clients keep asking for gluten-free products. Some of these facts happen every single day, and some of them repeat themselves from time to time. So each individual fact has its own cycle of repetition. These are the examples that I gave you before are individual facts and that I noticed after they started repeating. However, they seemed meaningless and no solution came to my mind after their observation. But I wrote them down in my daily journal because I knew everything was connected, which meant these random observations might have had some usefulness. This means you acknowledge the fact that reality is relative and that there might be some things that you might miss from the picture of your business, and later on maybe you will discover that these details are part of an important pattern that you didn't see immediately. So, if it happens that you notice repetitive individual facts that apparently have no meaning, or that employees and clients make certain observations and don't seem useful, don't dismiss them. Just take notice and leave them in your mind. Maybe they will be useful someday. In addition, there are facts that you see at the moment of their occurrence, but you don't observe them consciously. It is normal because you cannot notice everything at once, especially when they are not directly related to an urgent problem. For example, the fact that most of our clients were women and that most women cannot finish one whole menu in one sitting. These are facts that I didn't write in my journal, but I became aware of them in the context of finding a solution for increasing sales. But I'll tell you about this solution in the next class. Another example is Sundays the restaurant is empty. I became aware of this fact in the context of finding the solution for three overlapping activities. I didn't see it as a fact per se. That is why you need detachment to become aware of them. That is why you need daily reviews of your work and business. So, every time I was bringing forth all kind of dissimilar observations about clients, the business owner rejected them. Why? Because she didn't have a context, an overall pattern in her mind where the information could fit in. And the only way to build a context and identify patterns is to take your time for daily reviews of your work, just randomly remembering and thinking about what happened during the day. Why? Because you don't know which of these multitude of facts and activities are relevant to uncover the next solution, and you are not even aware that you don't acknowledge them. That is why when you detach from your daily work for daily review, your mind will have room, time, and space, and it will identify by itself the right pattern or patterns in general where these facts are included, because it is a natural ability for learning, because this is how you have learned what you know and what you can do to produce results, which is by identifying patterns. It is an automatic process that the mind does it by itself. So Let's see, another challenge is that you will tend to jump to conclusions, just like our example from the transition video when we needed the second employee and the business owner jumped to conclusion that is not possible because she couldn't afford it. So you will find reasons why it's not possible to solve a certain problem, label things, or you believe that you really need to be practical. The interesting thing is that sometimes you are right and sometimes you are not, because some problems are not worth solving. So how do you know when it is worth trying? Keep looking for a solution when it seems impossible, and when is the time to jump to conclusions or to give up. Well, this is something only you will know. Okay, it is an answer that only you can uncover, but you will be more certain and more accurate if you constantly increase the space of a problem, like we did in the examples of the previous videos. When you constantly integrate individual parts of your business to see it as a whole, and you get a bigger context for a problem. So the larger the context of your problem, the more likely it is you will be effective in jumping to conclusions. Your rationality and practicability will be more accurate than when judging a problem individually. So let me now give you another example. After about a year, we made that switch to workers per shift. I told the business owner about repetitive individual fact. There are some clients that call for delivery orders after 1 p.m. and as we are taking delivery orders only until that time, until 1 p.m. I had also made some calculations to see if it was worth hiring a second driver part-time, but figures didn't add up. However, one of my colleagues suggested that maybe we can take delivery orders until 2 p.m. so we could extend the driver schedule with 1 hour. However, after deliveries, the driver was always going to buy fresh ingredients for the menu next day, so it was not possible. Well, I told you the restaurant food was fresh, made from scratch every day. So now maybe you can observe that this situation is similar with the one from the transition video, meaning we hire a second employee, this time a driver, but we cannot really afford it. At this point, I think the business owner got it because she applied the same solution as in the transition video, meaning she reallocated the human resource. She extended the driver's schedule for deliveries until 3:30 p.m. and she sent one of the cooks to buy ingredients as this cook was not very efficient or something like that, and hired a new cook full-time. I don't know exactly how effective this decision was, but the point is that the more you increase the space of a problem, the more connection you see among the resource and activities in your business, the more options you will have to solve problems. As you can see, reallocating resources don't work only for overlapping activities, but also for improvising solutions based on repetitive individual facts. So, you have to allow yourself to play with these patterns, to try different combinations and different solutions, and don't forget that they are temporary, and to keep track of the changes until you find out the main cause for all urgent problems, which we'll discuss in the next video about scattered activities.